Yo, honestly, it what you're doing is dope, but it is amazing at your transformation, bro. Because I remember you know, the college days from us drinking every day. Like I remember this is another story that I tell. And I also told a recent friend of mine who just finished beating cancer. They found um, cancer in his chest or whatever, and he beat it. But I told him he had the same situation as you, where he was just tired and going through it during the pandemic. He lost his job.
Right.
His wife is pregnant. He's got a daughter, and he's battling, this cancer that they found, a lymph node that they found in his chest or something like that. And I told him a story of you, and and how you overcame that. I didn't know to the extent of what you had gone through, but I just said, like, this is a man, he's old, he was older than you, and he was going through, he was away from New York. I was like, he wasn't really with family. He was up in Massachusetts battling this on his own. I said, you have family here. I put things in perspective for him and helped him. He overcame that. But I remember like us. I tell a story about how we were in your room one day and you had this poster of every bottle of alcohol, right? And you were like, yo, we're going to drink every bottle on that wall.
The drink of the day.
Oh my God. And we did. We did. Yeah. Yo, and it was this, man, it was like sun up to sun, not even really sun up. I mean, there were moments during the day, but it was mostly at night. Like, penny drink night. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Thirsty Thursdays, Thirsty Wednesday, Thirsty Tuesday. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty much every day.
And to see how you were then to how you are now, even like when I first met you, like I had saw a picture of you the year before and you were skinny. And then there was a picture of you then and you were thicker, but you weren't like obese. But like there was weight on you now. And it was like, man, like what the hell? Like, and to see you now, you got a 12 pack, you know what I mean? And you busting out, like you got a whole system and it, you're going through these processes on your Instagram page, on your posts. And it is awesome. You know what I'm saying? It's something that I commend. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, bro. And it's awesome.
I do. And that humbles me, but I always feel like there's always, more work to be done. Mm-hmm. And if you proof, like I went from like working out for just like personal satisfaction. Now I have 2 daughters.
Yeah.
I gotta be that dad that's like, hey, Riley in Brooklyn's dad is a monster. But it is a beautiful thing as far as it goes with like the people that follow me, to tell you the truth, like, and even you, like I get inspired by what people like you and like, the people who use their platform, especially now, like this coronavirus, which is like everybody in a way, take me out of the equation. Like for anybody to get up, to video themselves working out and to provide a free platform for people who, have lost their jobs and people who don't have money to afford, because personal training is expensive. Trust me, I know I charge people. And, people who do that's me. Like every day. So like I really get my motivation and inspiration of people who like you, who use your platforms to kind of like just whether it be educate, help people stay, mentally and physically fit. That's where I get my inspiration from. Sometimes it's tough, like, you want to lay in bed every day, but then I think about, what? There's that person who like inboxed me like 2 days ago saying, hey, I want to thank you. My husband and I, we weren't really into it, but, you're doing these workouts and it takes like 20 minutes. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
feel like if I don't get up in the morning, and again, that's my motivation. If I don't get up in the morning and put that out there, that material, I feel like I'm letting people down. And I've legit, like when I've taken some time off, I've legit gotten inbox people saying, yo, dude, you good? Like, and like these are, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Really, it's become really kind of like a thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm going to continue to do it. I'm continue to provide free material. You know, and all jokes aside, like even when I do personal training, like my I guess my gimmick or whatever it is, like I always tell people, if you're paying more money for my services than you are for like groceries, you got to get your priorities straight. So like, especially during these COVID times where I'm just like, if you tell me, yo, I can only afford $100, then $75 a month to take that 25 and do that shit. And I've been successful about it. I don't know if I can say it on this podcast, but I've made the government doesn't know about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
No, I'm just kidding. Kind of. We'll talk about it offline, but that leads me to today, man, where we're going through crazy social injustice times. We had a president who has divided our nation, and I think as early as this morning, I sent you a text message about a friend who you and I both know because of this dude. I mean, it's just the times that we're living in these days, man, where back in the day, the biggest issue that you and I had was like, who was the better rapper? We could have that argument all night. Now, friendships, relationships, and family members are not talking because of but Donald Trump, because he opened the door for people to show who they really are. And it's hard. And so like the other angle that I do on top of like the social media stuff, and this goes back to that bubble that I was living in, where, I'm really starting to, not that I didn't before, but maybe not as much as I have, I'm really starting to embrace like who I am, like who my heritage, my culture. And, just because I grew up in a multicultural area, and I told you before, like that dude in Alabama, or that girl in Alabama, they didn't live in those same circumstances. And it's sad that it took a person's, to be killed on camera for us to realize that there are social issues in this country. So I've started speaking out, and that the more I speak out, the more that circle, gets smaller, and the more people want to argue. But it's we're going through a very tough time in this country right now. And I know for me, I'm going to continue to speak out the injustices that I've seen. I look at it like this: all they had to do was just listen to Colin Kaepernick. You know what I mean? Seriously. I mean, we could talk about that. I know that we've had these conversations, but my only hope going into 2020 is like, I hope for
2021.
Oh my God, yeah, 2021. You're right. My only hope for 2021 is two things, man. I hope we could figure out this virus and some kind of normal, like you and I can actually have this conversation in person.
Yeah.
I really hope that we could, as a country, just heal, because, what I've seen and what I've witnessed, what I've seen, what I've read, just like you, like we're so divided. And told you it wasn't black people.
Let me tell you, what's funny was, I feel like it was a process for how we got here. I think Trump was like the final piece, the final step. I tend to go back to when the Chappelle Show was on, and it became mainstream to say the N-bomb.
Right.
It became and people became really comfortable. And a lot of people said, well, you're taking away the negative and you're putting power on it. And I always disagree with that. I don't really believe that that's a real thing. I think that word was created to put down a group of people. And it didn't start in this country. It started, in Europe, but it migrated here and it was used against people of color. And then as people became comfortable, then there was the how do you say, the election where a black president came to be, and people felt that they needed to either be censored or they couldn't really be themselves because the status quo wouldn't allow them to feel how they felt, right? And then you have Donald Trump come in, who I still don't believe really wanted to win. He won, he just wanted to use it as a ploy, because you got to think about it. What was his platform? He never really had a platform. Every president had a platform. Obama was reform, whether it was prison reform, medical reform, whatever the case may be. It was all about reform, getting us out of the rut that George Bush Jr. had left us in. George Bush Jr., his platform was Christ. His thing was, I'm doing this on behalf of God, and he wanted to be better than his dad. Right. That was his real thing. He was like, you know what, I'm going to be president. I'm going to be 2-term president, and I'm going to do what he couldn't do, right? Bill Clinton was all about the interns. No, I'm just kidding about that. But Bill Clinton, his thing was financial growth, bringing us back from before where George Bush Sr. had left us in a deficit and leaving us, where we had a surplus, which was unheard of in like 40, 50 years. You know what I'm saying? And you can go down the line. Every president before Trump had a platform. We could say what his platform was in a sense, but it wasn't an official platform. His platform was fear. Rising people out of fear and getting people to, react and become irrational with their feelings almost. Because if you looked at the statistics and you looked at the facts of everything, the first 2 years when there was an economic boom, that was actually off of the coattails of the Obama administration.
Right.
That was what he had put forth. And if you know anything about politics, if you learned anything in social studies, you know that a president's effect really wasn't felt until after he's out of office. It's 4 to 8 years after you feel his effects of his presidency. So, you figure you got this guy who's, who's on the biggest platform on the earth, probably, right? And, you go everywhere he goes, he's not really, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And what did he really do? Except incite fear and hatred. And, just look at what he's done. Yeah, he bought jobs, definitely. He bought jobs, but they were minimum wage jobs. So, and that doesn't pay for rent and for food and everything else.
Right.
You're barely getting by with that. So there are things that he did. Yes, he definitely did. The one thing that I would credit Trump for doing was showing how ugly people can be in America, and showing the world that this is what's going on in America, right? And through, maybe he inadvertently did that, but he showed the world. The world now sees America, and before, if you've been anywhere out the country, they look at us like we're already like, oh, you're American. You know what I'm saying? They don't, only in America will we say, oh, we're Puerto Rican or we're black or whatever. We go anywhere else, you're American. Right?
Yeah.
So you say
philosophy from countries is when you leave the country, and I have, it's like you don't know how it feels to like struggle, and the world can see that it takes a hate mongers to take over the entire country, right? But the Trump effect is going to be felt for a long, long time, because, I kind of, when I saw what happened on January 6th at the Capitol, and you see the videos of like the Capitol Police like letting people in. It reminded me of Damon's character in The Departed, where like he went to the academy and did all that stuff and infiltrated everything. And meanwhile, the agenda was like he was working for the Irish Mafia.
Right.
What they do, like they legit go through all of the rigorous training and they put themselves through the entire process of getting to where they are for a different agenda. And it's scary because he's not there, it just doesn't mean that racism and hate's going to go away. Okay. You know, the only thing he did was just make it more prominent. It was kind of like underground. Now it's more mainstream, and good thing now because maybe the government will have a bigger, you know, more of a track on it. But it boggles my mind. And it's not even the fact that like people support Donald Trump. I don't really care who you voted for. The fact that like people have allowed themselves to believe just like lies. Like I go back to like college and like you and I would tell a lie. They'd be like, "Well, you crazy?" All right, so you can't possibly believe that I'm talking to that girl, but there's somebody who manipulated a machine, and it's possible that Donald Trump was not elected, but everybody think it was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just the things that people have embedded in their minds. But you know what, dude? That's not him. That's just racism at its best. You know, you laugh when I hear, you know, when people's reasoning for like how the election was rigged. They're like, you can't possibly believe that Joe Biden got more votes than Barack Obama. All right, this is what you really mean. You can't possibly believe that more black people voted for Joe Biden than Barack Obama. Let's just be honest.
Right.
Everything has like a racial undertone to it when it comes to Trump, no matter what it is. Like when you have to justify what somebody did for black people, my issue is this. Why are you still doing things for us? Like, when is that going to be a point where like we don't need to have like to even have black or, you know, minority reform in 2021 is a sham from any party. And, you know, getting back to what you said, like the residuals from prior establishment, I'm not going to get into all types of politics and facts, but like, I'll take black unemployment. People will say black unemployment is as low as it's been, you know, forever. And it's right, true. But Obama took over as president from George Bush, black unemployment was 16.7%. When it was 7.9%, the lowest it had ever been in this country's history. That had it at 5%. So when he went out and like, you know, African American person, or was it just a trend that was continuing to, you know, downward because businesses and, you know, whether it be private companies or corporations were being a lot more sensitive to who they were hiring. Like you got to look at that. Like Donald Trump didn't come into office in 4 years and change black unemployment. Like, it was headed down that way anyway. These are part of the lies, unfortunately, that people want to. And you know, I got myself to a point where I was making myself just frustrated, just trying to talk to people about it. So I look at it like this, like, you know, yesterday was day one of a new age. We have a woman and a woman of color as a vice president. We have the most diverse cabinet. You're talking about blacks, white, Latino, trans, you know, there's a transgender in his cabinet.
Oh, wow. Really? I didn't hear that.
Guy, the first transgender in his cabinet.
I watched CNN yesterday for the first time since 2017. And I'm out. So yeah, I didn't know that, but wow.
My wife's biggest complaint about me now is that I probably watch too much news. Like I didn't. The one thing about Donald Trump, he's like, how Stern, if you ever watched the movie Private Parts.
Oh yes, I love that movie.
Well, you know, 40% of the people that love Howard Stern, they listen because they want to hear what he has to say next. 80% of the people, 60 people, they hate him, but they listen to him. But why they listen? Because they want to know what he has to say next.
Yeah.
So Donald Trump is like the political Howard Stern. Like people that hate him, they listen because they just want to know what he's going to do next.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad he's gone.
Yeah.
It's sad that I guess you don't want to call them friends. You made it very, you said it today. Like if people want to support someone and other people use their platforms for hate and for just like, total social injustice, were they really friends anyway? But it's just sad that it came to that. And, I'm done with like the whole like criticizing Donald Trump. Like I'm going to use my platform to kind of get back to where I was before, as far as like social injustice and like, what are they doing, for minority people and for women? Like what's the game plan?
Yeah.
You said you bought in, Black you in this election. Like now, where are you gonna go next with this? And that's what I'm focused on. Like that's the past. And again, we could talk about politics and all this stuff all night, but like I hope that the people that are listening out there, to this platform that you've created, like, they understand that like people like you are important because they give people like me an opportunity to, to talk about these things. And they're not comfortable conversations. Like, the point, you don't go to the club and say, hey, how do you feel about Black on all side, like, I have an ample amount of respect for you. I always have, and I think that, your platform that you're doing now, I remember when you told me about this whole thing, I had no doubt that it was going to be, something that, 2-3 years from now down the line is going to be something that people are going to be talking about, because you're just that type of person. Like, it's not, hey, how can I make a quick buck? You actually care about the material. And, I respect that a lot about the kind of person that you are. And, the one thing I've always said about people that I consider my, circle is like, friends don't tell you, they don't tell you what you want to hear, they tell you what you need to know. And I remember you told me when you came to visit me in Hampshire that I had to clean my shower because the walls were. But it's like, a real friend tells you the truth and they're honest. And you've always been like that in the 20-something years that we've known one another. You've never hesitated on telling me, yo, dude, you're 1,000% right. But on the flip side, yo, dude, shut up, you're 1,000% wrong. And that's why I have like an undying respect for you. And I really appreciate you having tonight, to kind of talk about the stuff. And, and in reality, I've never really dispelled a lot of the stuff that I talked about tonight, but I felt like if there was going to be a person that I was going to have a conversation with, it was going to be you. You know what I'm saying? So
Man.
I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you, brother. And I always want, I want to tell you that I love you. You know what I'm saying? You've always, there's people, there's a reason why, there's just people that come into your life, you know what I'm saying? And they're just there. And, throughout everything, you know what I'm saying? You've always, we've always been able to dialogue, you know what I'm saying?
Really?
And, at first I wanted to, AKA this thing called Big Brother. But then I was like, you know what song really feels like Owen? And I was like, One Love by Nas. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's you. That's you. Like, the whole story, him hearing from his man who's doing a bid in jail. He got the letter and he's, Nas is telling the stories about the people. And, you carry a lot of people with you. You know what I'm saying? That's why I showed you, like, I'm not surprised. In fact, I'm like, that's all you got is 150,000. Like, I'm surprised you ain't got millions. Like, I was like, oh, snap. Like, okay. But, like, you've always been the guy that was always like, like you, it was you that I had to readjust from in New York, because you come home and you're a New Yorker. But you come home and it's like something catches you. You're like, oh man, I gotta be on point. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys, this person doesn't really have my interests, my best interests. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, we were always together, we'd be together. And listen, like family, we had our moments where we just disagreed. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But that's just life. You know what I'm saying? But, we were kind of disagreeing when art was gonna kill you. But I got that elevator. I said, you know what? Nope. Listen, you ain't going out like that. If I got to get punched in the face too, then it's just is what it is.
The final thing that I'll leave you with is this. I remember when, and again, that's a story for another day. And if I ever enough to be back on your ask again, we could talk about whatever. Yeah. But we went through a moment. We had whatever, and we didn't talk for a little bit, and that happens. Yeah. But that first conversation that we had when I don't remember who made the first phone call. It doesn't matter who it was. Yeah. It was like no time had passed. Yeah, right. To me, that's like the measure of a real friend. Like, definitely. Disagreements, and you may not even speak for a while, but then when you call, you be like, yo, fuck you. I mean, like, we'll talk. Without a doubt. That's who you are to me. And, as much as you say you appreciate me, listen, I appreciate you a lot, and keep doing this because, it's important. And it's important that you're giving not only just people in general, but people of color and women a platform trying to get their names out there. So, my commitment to you is that, I want to promote this show on my platform. Like every week you can send me a picture, or I can look at your Instagram, and I'll promote this on my end. I know I do my little podcast, and I've shouted you out already, and I know you've jumped on my show, but this is important stuff that we need to keep going, because this is giving people of color, a platform that in a lot of instances, unless you could shoot a ball or throw a football or catch one, we don't get that type of notoriety. So we need to keep this going and keep it happening. So I look forward to seeing who the next guest is, and I look forward to what the future is going to bring for you.
Man. So tell us what's coming up for Old Headley Fitness. What's to come?
The next thing I have working on is I wanted to do another Instagram page, but then I just kind of defunct it because it was just too much work. If you want to know the truth between what I'm doing, off the cuff, as far as being a husband and a father and having a full-time job plus the business. Definitely. What I want to do is I want to expand YouTube. I have a YouTube page, but I haven't really spent too much time. And that's probably something that you and I could probably talk about off the cuff.
Definitely.
But the next thing I'm really trying to do with it is a lot of live feeds, like a lot of live workouts, and seeing who's up at 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock. Because I've got a lot of hey, why don't you go live and stuff like that. So as far as it goes with that platform, I'm looking to go live. And if you want to know the truth, the goal for 2021, I'm hoping I can get to 250,000 followers. But with that being said, I want to use that platform. I started doing it already with, you were a part of that with my friend Nikki Stick. I kind of want to, use that platform to kind of, help benefit other people. So in all honesty, to quote the great Michael Jordan, when it comes to my platform, the ceiling is the roof. So coming next will be a lot of live, live videos, and then obviously the podcast that I've done, that's got a lot of feedback. I'm doing that as well. I have some good people kind of lined up for it. A lot of up and coming minority artists and musicians that are going to come on and kind of talk about what they're trying to do. A lot of other people in the fitness world. I got a guy who I kind of networked with from Long Island, who actually walked from, I forgot where he walked from, it was from Long Island somewhere to promote social injustice. I shouted him out of my. So I really kind of want to use my platform again, like I've said, to kind of support like the small business, a lot of Black owned businesses and just stuff like that. And I think this year should be a year of opportunity for people who really deserve, a chance to have their name in the light. And that's why, again, you're one of those people where I think it's important that like we get your name out there and we get, we put you in a position where you could help really, like myself. Like I'm sure you have a lot of people who probably don't even have any idea who I am. And, if we could put ourselves in a position where there's, not only just like, social media growth, but then economic growth and stuff like that. Like that's really what I want to do. So I would say moving forward for me is kind of taking Headley Fitness to a level where, I can get somebody to be on the level that I'm at as far as it goes with followers and, a little bit of notoriety. Am I a celebrity? No, not even close. But I'm just going to continue pushing forward, man. It's just forward progress is what I'm looking for. So,
oh, definitely. I mean, definitely reach out to me with like, about the podcast networks and stuff like that. Because, we could definitely, get you on Spotify and all these things. We could definitely, there's definitely an avenue for that. Just let me know and it'll be done. It'll be done. You know what I'm saying? I can get you on Spotify tomorrow, be honest with you. So, you just let me know. Yeah, man, like bro, I'm proud to say that I'm your friend. I'm proud to say that I'm your brother. You know what I'm saying? And, listen, one day we'll do that Bad Boys 2 scene when Homeboy comes to pick up Riley. But it'll be 3, it'll be me, you, Adam, and maybe Jose raiding your fridge in the background.
Yeah. I hope that at the time where we could have like these couple face to face, man, because it's been too long.
We will. Oh, yeah. It's just, it just is what it is. We will, but until then, I feel like people need to check in to like Headley Fitness, for activities other than just binge watching Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, they need to see, you doing your thing, busting out kettlebells and all those other, I forget the names of them, but you be doing your thing. I be watching, I be like, yo, what the hell? Like, geez. Like it's like, yo, it's watching your transformation has just been like, it was definitely, you were one of the people that I had in mind when I wanted to do this, because it was like, yo, I'm pretty sure everybody recognizes it, but like for the people that don't know you, that know me, or just, and all the growing people, because in promoting you, just promoting the first 3 guests, I have over 1,100 followers now. Some of them are probably a little funny, but for the most part, I've gotten DMs like, yo, that's a great show. How'd you, I love the premise, who's next? And then I'm, and they're like, why is this guy all twisted up on your page? Like, why you? And I'm just like, yo, that's going to be a dope interview. You'll see. And it's just great, man. I'm proud of you, proud of the man you've become. You're an awesome father, you're a great son, you're a great friend, as evidenced by the fundraiser that you helped do for Nikki, who I barely remember, but I'm just glad, that she's okay, or that she has an opportunity, to where things could possibly turn around for her. And, just keep doing what you're doing, brother. Just keep doing what you're doing. And also, I'm proud of you for using your platform to talk about social injustice and stuff like that, because, some people with growing businesses have shied away from that, or just stayed quiet, and just, they'll play the middle ground. I'm proud of you for doing that. You've never been political like that, and for you to like take the stand like that was amazing.
I appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, I would be more than happy, and I'm like lasting along with some other people, but I can kick it again. And if you ever want to jump, you have the autonomy to, when I'm on my podcast, you can jump on anytime you want.
Oh, definitely.
And love you, brother, and I really appreciate you.
Definitely, brother.
Today, and like I said, if I was going to share a lot of, and I'm a very quiet person when it comes to like personal stuff. I was going to talk about anything personal, like who better to talk about it with you? And I appreciate you giving me the outlet. So
definitely
doing what you're doing, and and the ceiling is the roof. I don't know what that means. Brother.
Definitely. Yo, this has been Headley Fitness. Owen Headley. I've been Just Heck, and this is just another podcast. Take care of yourselves. Happy 2021. Take care. Have a good night. Peace.